6:29, almost 6:30. Today is Tuesday, October 2nd, 2018, and it's a regularly scheduled meeting of the Marquette Township Board. I guess John wants to do the pledge. Join us, please.
I
I pledge allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Randy, please.
Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Wiegand.
Here.
Trustee Everson.
Here.
Trustee Marks.
Present.
Treasurer Johnson.
Here.
Clerk Retire's here, and Supervisor Durant.
Here.
Staff present is Manager Gerard and Fire Chief Dan Shanahan.
Excellent. Public comment? Anybody want to share something?
Yes.
Is the microphone on? I'm guessing.
It is on.
Yes.
It's on.
Just name and address, please, ma'am.
My name is Karen Stabile. I live at 2233 Huron Street, Marquette. I was at the last township meeting on September 18th, and I explained my issue regarding the water entering my property from the driveway after the repaving of Huron Street. I started contacting the township last year regarding this issue, and it is on record. As of this date, nothing has been done. I have not been contacted by the township or by UP Engineering and Architects about a solution. I contacted Superior Paving, who came out and looked at the situation. They identified the problem and they agreed with my assessment. They indicated that there was approximately 37 feet where the pavement was basically flat, which was allowing the water to enter my property. Mike Morissette from Superior Paving met with Randy Gerard on Monday, September 24th, and discussed the situation with him and explained it. Superior Paving provided me with an estimate of $3,450 to repair it and correct it. They said that if I let them know in the next few days, they could maybe get the work done this year. If I wait until next year, I'll run the risk of more damage to my property and maybe to my basement as well. So I'm going to proceed with the work, and I will send the bill to the township. It's my understanding that there was a similar issue that impacted another resident on Huron Street after the repaving. They contracted with Superior Paving, and the township paid that bill. It's my understanding. That might be hearsay. I'm not sure. That's all I have.
Thank you.
I do have the estimate and pictures if anybody would like them.
Dan?
Just briefly, Dan Shanahan, 2182 Montgomery. I'm just here to briefly discuss where we will be having an open house next Monday, October 8th from 5 to 8 p.m. I think it's a good chance for everybody to come on out and meet the men and women of our department. Ask questions, whatever you'd like to do. We got a good group. We'll be having a static display with our fire apparatus. We'll also be showing our Argo jet ski and some high-angle rope equipment. The MS Michigan State Police K-9 team will also be there with their German Shepherd. Marquette County 131 is anticipating being there. And so in a sense, it's sort of an emergency services meet, but it's also the kickoff of Fire Prevention Week. Like I said, we have a lot of great people on the department. Come on out if you even want to just take a brief tour of the fire hall. The Red Cross is also offered to help with some prep and serving of some food and snacks, hot dogs type of thing. There will also be smoke detector sign up for the residents if they'd like, and we'll also install them. So if you get a chance, come on out next Monday, October 8th from 5 to 8.
Excellent.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Do a quick question for Dan. Dan, do you know right offhand if there's going to be any more of the companies bringing any equipment through? You know, the last couple of weeks we've had several companies that have been delivering trucks of various sorts around the UP, and they've been stopping in at the hall, so we have a chance to take a look at them. Is there any chance one of them might be coming through on Monday?
Not on Monday, no.
Okay.
No, but that is a good thing. I'm sort of glad you brought it, if I may respond.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There was a 107-foot aerial that was in town. We're not looking at that. I just want to make, so everybody is very clear. Beautiful truck. We are not looking at it. We were just a demonstration. He was in town, so we did look at it, and
Yeah,
it was nice. But I don't want anybody to be thinking, "Whoa, what are they thinking or doing over there?"
No, I
No.
think we've actually had 3 over the last
We've
couple
had-
of weeks that have come in, and they drove around in the Trowbridge, and I think there were 2. One was a 100-foot ladder
Right.
truck that was coming back from the
One is a
tournaments.
platform.
There was another one, I think, that was a platform that was it demonstrating for, was it Ishpeming or some department close by?
Yeah.
And they stopped by, and then I guess yesterday, was that yesterday or
Today.
today? It was today. There was
Today
a
it was
pumper tanker that was passing through that stopped at the hall. So gives us a chance to take a look at what's out there on the market, and we chatted with them about pricing, and we're pretty close with what we were estimating. The one, the ladder, the 100-foot ladder was, what, 1.2 million, and the platform was 1.3. I don't know what the pumper was today, that pumper tanker. Did they get into that at all?
A basic was 450 for what
$450 for the basic?
was sitting there, right? So.
Okay, cool. All
We're
right.
looking,
I was
it's
just
nice that they
wondering.
can come up here, we don't have to travel to them, so it's been sort of a win-win for everybody, but just didn't want anybody thinking when they saw that beautiful 100-foot platform that we were considering that, but it was here and we looked at it.
Cool.
Good.
Thanks, Dan.
He was black anyway, so he's not interested in black ones.
Okay, anything else from the public? No? Okay, board member comment in response to public comment. Randy, do we need to call UPEA, or what's the problem?
We have. We've
I
asked
know.
them
Do I need to
for
go up there?
solution. All I can tell you is Mark Devatala responded that they're looking at it. They've gone by and taken a look at it, and we're putting together a proposed solution, and I have not received that as yet.
Do you remember when that was?
That was Friday, I think it was. He sent that to me. So,
Might give him a call tomorrow morning. Thank you. If you want to leave those estimates or whatever you have, and we can make copies if you want and get them back to you, that would be awesome, Karen. Oh, you've got multiple copies? Well, at least one for the office, for Randy. Sure.
One for the road committee too, huh?
We'll see what we can come up with for you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Okay, we'll do that. Thanks for coming in too, Karen. Any comments on that? Okay. Next up is the consent agenda. Tonight, it consists of the approval of regular meeting minutes of September 18th, and work session minutes of the 25th, checks or bills payable in the amount of $100,707.07. Received committee and other reports tonight, the Peter White Public Library agenda for September 24th and minutes of the August 21st meeting. Summary of their financial position as of August 31st and a memo from the director, Andrea Ingmeyer. Road committee agenda for work session on September 27th and the agenda for October 2nd, which was prior to this meeting. Iron Ore Heritage Recreation Authority draft agenda for September 26th and draft minutes of August 22nd. Marquette County Solid Waste Management Authority minutes of August 15th and their financial information from August and the tire grant information, which was pretty interesting. Marquette Area Wastewater Treatment Facility Advisory Board meeting minutes of August 16th. Utility billing calendar for October, and I had no report. And the financials for August with the treasurer's report. Anything we need to pull out of there? Okay, I just need approval.
I'll move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And the rest of the agenda, I'm just going to add a couple of items under the committee appointments because I passed out some applications we have. So there's one there for Mike Springer for the DDA, and I was going to catch Dan, the fire department, and you had already gotten one from Dan Shanahan on the roads. I handed that out last week. So if we add number 3, the DDA fire department, for that open position. It can either be Dan or a representative that we can announce later. So that's the only addition we need to make. If somebody would.
I'll move to accept the agenda as amended.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We have no board education or privilege comment. We have no community linkage tonight. Policy discussion is consider proclamation recognizing Fire Prevention Week, which is what Chief Shanahan just mentioned. We have, I don't remember if it was a resolution in here.
Proclamation.
Proclamation, okay.
Move to adjourn.
We don't need to read it, do we, Randy?
No, it's in the packet, and
Support.
it's in the packet, so,
Okay. And we don't need a roll call on it either, right?
no.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Well, I got the original, and we'll put it out where someone can see it for the time.
He said that it started this week, but I thought it said September 28th.
Yeah, it's 28th through October 10th, so it's actually kind of multiple weeks, but.
Oh, okay.
They will be, our department will be participating in the parade and the display at Harlow Park on Saturday of this week.
You know what time that is?
I believe it starts at 10.
Yeah, usually 10 to 4 or something.
10, it runs to, I think it runs till about noon or 1 o'clock.
All right. Schedule work sessions for 2019 budget consideration. Does anybody have a preference or suggestion, or should we just start with a week?
Start anytime.
So 1 to 3, do we kind of want to do that? Do we want to do some nighttime stuff? Do we have,
I talked to staff, 1 to 3 is better for them. No, we don't have to pay them to stay.
well, yeah, we had said that last year.
Could we just try with a couple of days?
Sure.
I'm sure the others have a crowded schedule too, so just,
Do you want to look at next week to start?
This week is no good at all.
Something,
Have we decided how many we need?
well, we usually kind of try to get as many, well, that's, once we picked a date, I was going to say, who do you want to do first? Usually we pick the general fund and 2 or
First.
3, and like,
Typically, in a typical budget year, we have, excuse me, we have the department heads come in and present their budgets to begin with, basically, and that's usually, first it's fire department, usually then followed by public works, and then followed by the general fund, which is the bulk of the remaining, and you usually do that over 1 or 2 meetings, depending on how much discussion there is, and I would suggest that given prior years, you would probably, the first meeting, you would want to do the fire fund and the general fund. There seems to typically be more discussion about the public works funds, so maybe have that on the second session. And then before you actually get into real budget deliberations, have them explain, answer any questions. The budget as it sits right now has not changed significantly from what you've already received. The preliminary budget, what you don't have is a, well, you do have my transmittal, but you don't have kind of like the blow-by-blow because we were waiting for some issues to come in. I suspect by the time I get back later this week, I should have the information with regard to the health insurance renewal, and then we can compare with what the Western Michigan Health Plan proposal was, and then we'll have a better idea of where the budget is with that regard. That's probably the biggest thing that's hanging out there.
mhm. So if we talk,
Tuesday the 9th,
Tuesday's fine for me.
try the.
DDA at
well, we gotta
5:30.
get a-
How's Tuesday, the 9th?
Fine for me.
That's okay. 1 to 3? Okay.
1 to 3?
1 to 3 on the 9th.
And that'll be the fire department / general fund, correct?
Sure, if we want to start with that.
That would be good, yeah.
So this will be just the regular fire department budget. We're not going to worry about the election stuff or?
Yeah,
Okay. 1 to 3, fire department and general fund. Okay, Do you want to pick another one the next week?
No, you can go on that week if you want to.
Do 2 that week?
How about the 11th?
11's fine for me.
I could do 1 to 3. How's that for everybody else?
I can't make
Thursday?
that.
No? What works for you, Pete?
Wednesday? Friday?
Wednesday doesn't work for me, but
Wednesday will not work for me.
Okay,
Friday does.
so Friday,
You're off
12th.
Friday, the 12th.
I need to switch that to Wednesday if I
Oh.
can.
The 10th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that Wednesday?
12th works for me.
Friday is good.
Or
1 to
Friday-
3?
Friday the 12th, 1 to 3.
Tentatively schedule that for
What will
Public
that be?
Works?
I was going to say
Tentatively for Public Works?
1 to
Yes.
3, Public Works.
Okay, well, we got 2.
You want to stop with that?
Well, and then we have our board meeting on the 16th, and then we can schedule additional meetings at that time moving forward, because we'll know where we're kind of at that
how
point.
far off?
Good for now.
So I'll make a motion to schedule 2 budget work sessions, Tuesday the 9th from 1 to 3, and that'll be fire department / general fund. And Friday the 12th, 1 to 3, and that will be public works. That's a motion.
Motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then Randy, we can just bring the working budget that you gave us and
Yes.
go from there.
Yep.
Work on that. Excuse me.
And once we get through that preliminary, then we can put together the full budget binder.
Good. Thanks for that. So the 9th and the 12th. Okay. Schedule work session for continued discussion on employee succession plan. We had decided that at our last work session that we wanted to do that. Yeah, do you want to try to cram another meeting in next week?
Well, it is a 5 Tuesday month, so we do have an extra Tuesday at the end.
How does just the week of the 15th look? 1 to 3.
At your board meeting the same week on Tuesday.
How about the 19th?
Monday?
Friday, the 19th?
19th.
That does not work for me, but
Okay.
Okay.
don't hold that out if I can't make it.
Yeah, but if we can all be here, that's
Okay, well,
what we want to try for. Anything on the 17th?
17th to the 22nd and 1 to 3 will not work for me.
Okay.
why don't we go to the next week then?
Week of the 22nd?
23rd is Tuesday.
23rd will
Tuesday,
work, yeah.
23rd?
Doesn't work for me.
No. Wednesday?
Wednesday,
24th?
Thursday, and Friday is okay.
That's fine for me.
Any of those? Thursday won't work for me. Do you want to try Wednesday?
24th?
Planning.
24th,
Yep.
1 to 3?
I have no idea what's gonna happen on on Monday and Wednesdays for how
Well,
long.
if you
Okay.
can make it, you can make it.
If I can make it, I'll make it.
Okay. So 1 to 3, Wednesday, October 24th, for a succession,
Discussing what,
the employee succession plan.
okay.
Well, that's a lot of introduction of information.
Well, and we got some already. He was just going to do a little more.
Well, what I'm in the process of doing is determining what external resources beyond Michigan Municipal League there are, what specialties for public works and things such as that. So I've got some information coming from a couple of other folks. I do have it from MML already, in terms of time, cost, process, those kinds of things. And also doing our own, if you decide to do it internal, what your process would be.
Well, that gives you even more time then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do I have a motion for that?
I'll move to schedule a work session for the employee succession plan, Wednesday, October 24th, 1 to 3.
Do we have support?
Support,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that
Enough for
passes.
this month.
Yeah, really. But just think, we could get it done,
well, it's done.
3 of those. All right, committee updates. Anything, Dave?
Yes, a couple. We got the Planning Commission. The last meeting on the 26th was rescheduled to be a forum to present the citizen survey and the master plan updates to present. It was attended very sparsely, but that's the first of a total of 3 that are planned, just to get the residents involved in the master plan updates. And from the road committee, September 27th, we had a work session to work on the goals and objectives. We've got a draft of that. We didn't quite wrap it up tonight, but we've got another work session set for the 10th of October that we should be able to wrap all that up and hopefully send it on. And
They don't complete it.
we had, from the recreation meeting last week, we did come to to finish our study up on the recommendations for the ice rink. We sent that on to the Planning Commission. They should be looking at it at next week's meeting. And that is really about it of significance. I would mention that Lowe's has offered to install a wooden fence along the west side of Lions Field. Those of you who've been out there, you notice that portion of that fence has fallen down where the swing set is. They did raise, or the committee raised some points about there's an easement over there and the property line takes a jog and there's a shed in the way if we follow the property line, and I think Jason was going to talk to the manager and hopefully take a look at where we want to put that fence if we go all the way across. Nothing's set in gold yet. We're just trying to work out the issues that arise with that. If you guys recall, the neighbor on the west side of the ice rink, I think the board approved an easement to give them some a couple years ago for that property.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to iron out if Lowe's puts that fence in, where exactly we want to put it.
And they're totally volunteering to do this, or Lowe's?
They're working out the sort of details they're offering. Maybe Randy could probably give you more information than anybody.
Yeah, they do community grant type work. They helped us out with Lions Field on the ball field side when we redid the retaining wall and did some other work in terms of the Lions Field side by the pavilion. So they do these periodically with corporate funding. They supply staff, they supply materials to work with us, basically. And what Dave's talking about has been there forever. I mean, it is an irregular property line because of an easement that was done. I have not talked with Jason about it as yet, but we'll basically just have to design how we want to have that look. And
yeah, just a matter of where you want the fence.
Yeah.
If you want to follow the property line, or if you want to follow the property line with the easement. It's kind of confusing from that point on.
it makes kind of a jog type of a fence, but we'll take a look at that and see what the best result of that is. We have had some discussion with or previously had discussion with the property owner on the summit side, and put in some vegetation, so we'll have to take that into account as well.
What type of fence are they talking about?
Just a wood screening fence, 6 foot. Same thing that's there, just the one that's there is kind of rotten and falling apart. And then the last thing on the updates for the committees is from the rec committee, the trail and road intersection safety procedures. The draft of that is done, and that was sent on to, I believe, the managers for a look and get legal to weigh in on it before we go any further with it. If you recall, the whole discussion is from the Mr. Zappa is, if you had something I could look at, I'd give you an opinion better. So, now he has something he can look at.
Okay. And that's it?
That's it.
That's pretty good. Okay, next up is the committee appointments. It's that time of year when I'm bothering staff to try to figure out where we are. I did get a hold of Attorney Zappa and asked for a clarification on dates, because on some of the original committee lists, we've got March and April and May of any given year, and I went back and looked at the bylaws, and they all say December, that the appointments take effect January 1st. So I did get his thoughts on, he named the main big ones, not so much road commission and stuff, or road committee. I don't think he has copies of those bylaws, but he went through the big ones, the DDA, Board of Review, zoning, that kind of stuff. So Andrea and I are gonna get together again. She's gone through quite a few of the minutes and motions, and we're trying to dig up some more applications to see when they were applied for, and if the problem that came in that we're pretty much narrowed it down to was when somebody was appointed to fill a position, if they were appointed in March or May, that date carried over by mistake, instead of it being the ending date of the
End
person
of the year, yeah.
whose term they were filling, plus the December. It got subverted.
Gotta get straightened.
Right. So she's gone back a couple times. We've had a couple meetings. I helped her set up a spreadsheet to keep track of it a little bit better, so that when a new applicant comes in, it'll automatically update depending on the term time frame, 3 years, 4 years, 2 years. So that'll help a little bit. So with that being said, you did get Dan Shanahan's application last week for the roads. He would like to do that. We also, I handed out Greg Place's application, because although I haven't received his resignation, he would like to not renew his term when it ends in December. He's up this year. So he did ask to be on the ZBA and the Board of Review, and he also, we kind of more or less talked about starting with alternate positions on those, because we have a few people whose terms are expiring, but we don't know yet
Whether they're gonna.
if they're going to leave or not. So he's willing to kind of do one or the other or both or whatever. So I gave you the information if we don't necessarily have to do this tonight, but I wanted to have it in front of you. The other thing was Mike Springer had put in an application last year for the DDA, and it was about the same time that we had the joint meeting in the hall, and then he did attend the next meeting, and I think there was a mix-up. He wants to be on the DDA, but somehow it didn't get finalized.
What else is he on?
He's on recreation and roads
Roads and
and
planning
planning.
Recreation, roads, and the planning commission. And he wants to be on DDA.
Mostly because well, he did last year before he even got into being the chair of the planning. This was an old application. That's why we dug it up, and because he was trying to figure out when his term ended, and he was questioning some of that. So that's how this evolved just this week, or last week, I should say. So he's actually kind of on there, but we didn't make the appointment, but he had attended some meetings. Dave?
I think the way all that came about is there was a subcommittee appointed when they were talking about the US 41 improvements. There was a subcommittee put together to work on that and the expansion of the DDA, and Mike was on the subcommittee along with myself, and I think when the subcommittee was disbanded for some reason, his name stayed on the list for the DDA. And from another perspective, I would think you need some kind of planning commission representative on the DDA.
We talked about that, and that was one of his main reasons. We are kind of restricted as to, the number, obviously, of participants in the DDA, but they have to qualify for a certain area in the township. Mike could, like, quasi-represent the planning commission just from his standpoint, but he would be an outside representative in the township, because he's not in the DDA, he doesn't have a business interest, but he would qualify for the number of just independent residents we need
I think the
also.
requirement is 5 of those members have to be within the DDA.
Either 4 or 5, yeah.
Five.
Five businesses and 4 outside, or vice versa.
And is there 9 total or 7 total? 9 total?
9.
So he's okay with doing this if you want me to make that recommendation now, because again, this wasn't on the agenda. Bless you. And I don't want to do anything with Greg's yet. We can, I'm okay with recommending Dan for roads. The other part of this too is that the fire department is part of, and that's what I wanted to check with him on, is part of the DDA as a township,
Yep.
you know, entity. So he should, I don't know if we need to actually reappoint him because Ron's gone.
Yeah, actually, what you would do is you would simply have it be the fire chief, basically, and, you know, because Ron was representing the fire department specifically within the DDA, and then Dan, now being the chief, should be appointed to refill that same slot.
And then if someone else wanted to do it and he didn't, would that be a problem if it was
No,
from
the
the
whole,
fire
the
department?
whole point was the DDA wanted to have representation from the fire department on the DDA, because if there's ever a levy of millage or whatever, the fire department is one of the few departments that has contact with all of the businesses and all of the residents within the township.
So it probably doesn't matter if he,
No.
like, sub-appoints somebody else. Or-
He could have an alternate.
Dave?
That's the same thing on the road committee with Dan's appointment or recommendation there is Ron Demars was a committee member, and Dan was going to step up and take Ron's spot. Right now, we're short one person.
And that's for the same reason. The fire department's on the roads all the time, and they bring a lot of information. Plus, if there's any road construction or any driveways to be constructed, it has to meet fire department requirements, access requirements.
So these are kind of all mixed in one. I'd like to hold off on Greg, but I did want you to see it so that you knew that we were going to have the opening on planning. So if someone's interested in the planning commission seat, that'll be available, not here, I'm talking to the public. December 31st, his term is up, so that would take effect January 1st. And it's a 3-year term? Yes, 3-year term.
I personally would rather wait till you're through putting all of this together, and then we have a package in front of us.
But that way?
Not true.
Sound all right with you guys? I don't know about Mike, we have a meeting coming up. He's okay with it, I talked to him. It just needs to be an official appointment to fill in what we've lost the last year.
And he currently he currently is shown as being on there. It just, he doesn't have an expiration date or anything. He's just there.
I can make the motion, because it's my recommendation, but if anybody else wants to. And the term would end December of 20.
Well, I don't think there's a problem with appointing Chief Shanahan to the roads. So I'll make a motion, we approve Chief Shanahan to the road committee.
Support?
Okay, and let me get you an ending date on that. Roads will be, that's a 3-year term, and he's filling Ron, so it goes to December of 19.
Okay, so it'd be basically just to fill out that term.
Right. And if it's gonna be an open fire department, we can just keep renewing it every 3 years. Okay, so do we have a second on
Yeah,
Dan?
yeah, you do.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So Dan is on the road committee. And then Springer,
I'll make a motion for Mike Springer for the DDA.
to end December of 20. And we have a second. All in
Support.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, we got those two. This will be easier. I know where you're coming from, John, but this will be easier to fill it in.
$50 a piece.
So. And then Shanahan. Okay, good.
Okay, so the DDA is, the vacancy is until when?
20.
12/20.
Okay,
He's got a lot in his,
is that a new term or just
This is to fill.
fill?
This
Okay.
was a fill, yeah.
Okay.
We knew that. To complete a term.
So it'd be a 3-year till 12 of 20, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
good, thank you.
Until it expires December 31st at 12/20.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep. All right. Public comment, we lost our public. Any announcements? Yes, Randy.
Okay, a few from the election department. Tuesday, October 9th at 4 o'clock is the last time you can register to vote for November election. That's 30 days before the election. So if you got any questions about if you're qualified to vote, come in and see Lois, and she will let you know. Next 2 weeks from tonight, the 16th, I think. 16th, we'll have an election committee meeting at 6:15, and that's where we'll appoint the election inspectors for the November election. The 23rd, let me look at my calendar here. The 23rd, I believe, is a Tuesday. At 3:30, we will have a public accuracy test here at the township, and anyone that's a public's welcome to attend. That's where we test the voting machines and make sure they're ready to go for the election. And the Saturday, November 3rd, I will be, myself and my deputy clerk will be in the office to give out and receive absentee ballots from noon to 2. And that's the last time at 2 o'clock on Saturday is the last time you can get issued an absentee ballot that can leave the building. Emergency absentee ballots can be issued on Monday, the 5th, but they can't leave the building. So that's on the 5th of Monday. Monday the 5th is the last absentee ballot day. And as of today, I have 389 absentee ballots that were mailed out. So I'm looking at this trend. We have a month to go. I'm looking at between 600 and 700 absentee ballots that we'll probably give out. So that's almost a fourth of our population that will have absentee ballots. So that's actually good, because we've made it real easy to vote, and that's what I really would like. So if you have, if you're going to be out of town or anything, or you got a reason to get an absentee, please come to the office and we'll get you one. So.
Do they need a reason? I know that was the discussion.
Well, actually, there's like 4 or 5 reasons on the sheet, but it's pretty low key. Yeah, like if I'm going to be out of the township for the day, that qualifies. One of the voting proposals that will be on the ballot will be a no reason absentee, so that will actually just check those reasons why you could get one off of there.
What's the age reason?
The age is, I believe it's 60 and over.
Yes.
You can get one.
John?
There are a large number of ballot issues on the ballot that are of interest to most people this time.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, John, because we will have a copy of the ballot on our website, and there will be one posted on the front door. So, and there's various other places you can go to the state website and look also.
But our own ballot really covers them nicely, and it's clear what's being asked of you, and it's because there's so many of them. I think that ballot is of interest to sit and look at the kitchen table.
Well, and another thing is we did have a correspondence from a group over at one of our senior housing centers, and we recommended they come over to the fire department open house, and in that setting, if they have any questions about the township proposals, we'll answer them there. We can't go to them, but if they come to the open house, we can give them the factual information there about our ballot proposals.
Okay.
And that's all I have. So pretty busy in the election world. I will be pretty busy from now to after the election. and me and my assistant Lois, so.
We're glad to have you. This is important stuff. Any other announcements from anybody? Okay, manager's report.
You do have a printed report. Mainly on the printed report, I've expanded something you've seen before about the fall sporting activities, basically to identify when those seasons are so residents would be aware of their time in the woods. Right now, bear hunting season is going on September 10th through October 26th. So if you're out in the wild areas of the township, be aware that that's happening. There may be dogs running for bear. You can use dogs with bear. Small game hunting September 15th through March 21st of 2019. So that season will be in place. Typically, we don't have too many conflicts with small game hunting. It's usually a larger game. The archery deer season starts October 10th through December 1st. Gun deer season November 15th through 30th, and then muzzle loading season October 7th through December 16th. So we have a long time frame here of firearm use potentially in the areas where we also have bikers, hikers, dog walkers, everything else. So make sure that you're exercising due caution and dressed in clothing that is less than brown and black. Something other. You want something high visibility when you're out in the woods these days through March of 2019.
Yeah, thanks for putting those dates. That's good.
Yeah, and just a couple of other things. For residents to remember, your first Wednesday rubbish drop-off changes this month. This is the last month that it goes until 7 o'clock. Starting in November, it ends at 6 o'clock. So you lose that hour, and the reason is darkness. We don't want all the materials being hauled when it's dark and potential traffic issues. Second thing I want to reiterate, the chief was here earlier. We do have the fire department's open house coming up Monday the 8th from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock at the fire hall. We do ask that if you have the ability to utilize a parking lot other than at the fire hall itself, just in case we do have a response. We do have parking here at the Township Hall in the north end. We will likely be staging one or two pieces of equipment on the employee parking side of the parking lot for fast response should there be an alarm during that time frame. Along with that, I want to remind everybody that the fire department does have free smoke detectors available. And those detectors can also be installed by fire department staff. So if you have a need for a smoke detector, either to replace an old one or to put a first one in, certainly contact the fire department any weekday, 8 to 5, to schedule getting a smoke detector or having it installed. That's it.
You're gonna mention about the warming shed. People, if you see somebody over there.
What Trustee LaRue is referring to is, we have restricted the hours of having the warming facility at the ice rink open due to some vandalism that's been occurring there. So any township residents that see anything questionable going on at the ice rink or Lions Field, please let us know at the Township Hall. Just a simple anonymous phone call, letting us know what happened. We do have video surveillance, but it doesn't cover every square inch of the park or the ice rink area. So certainly give us a hand, help us out. Also, November 27th, mark your calendars for the Christmas tree lighting at the Westwood Mall parking lot.
6 o'clock, I think, right?
6 o'clock, 6 until 8.
Okay. Any questions for the manager? Ernie?
Are they sealing the cracks in the roads now and that?
Farner, yes. Farner is in Trowbridge and in the township doing the tar seal, crack seal prior to winter.
I saw them the other day and I was surprised when I saw them.
Mm-hmm. Yep, trying to get that wrapped up here before the weather actually turns. It's close.
Dan, I saw a hand down here.
I just noticed when I was reading the manager's report today, a couple of typos here for the dates. The archery deer season is October 1st. That's in progress right now until January 1st.
It is October 1st, you're correct.
Yep. And the muzzleloading season is from December 7th through December 16th.
Boy, that is.
And then there is, I mean, it's over with now, but there's also a youth hunt in there from, this year was from the 22nd to the 23rd of September. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Yes, Dave?
Just to add to what the manager said about that Farner, if you guys remember, it was due to the lateness of the bids going out is why he was so late getting it done this year. We're hoping to resolve that issue. We should have a recommendation back to the board, I would think, by the first part of December. We're doing a road tour in November to take a look at what road softs recommend.
Randy, do you think when we have the open house at the fire department, there would be parking over here? And you said you're gonna, might have a truck over here. Do you think we could put a, let's say, a caution sign, the one that goes on the side of the road, on both ends of here, so people know that, just for safety?
Yeah, we will. Excuse me, we'll be putting up some traffic controls with our public works staff.
All
We're
right,
putting
good.
up some caution-type signs that, you know, it's difficult because we, you know, when we have an open house someplace like at the fire hall, it, you know, they still have to be able to respond, and the firefighters have to be able to get to the facility, so parking always becomes an issue. And we do have the luxury, I shouldn't say a luxury, but we do have the capacity to have parking here at the Township Hall, because we've made sure there's nothing happening here at the hall that night. So the parking here will be available, and I also believe directly across the street parking would be available in that lot as well. But likely what we'll be stationing here at the south end of the parking lot, which is where the employee parking is the ambulance and probably the rescue truck, having that prepared to respond should there be an alarm.
We just don't need any EMS demonstrations.
Not in the front, no.
Suppose we'll have to dig a tunnel, right? That's the fire department.
There you go.
Anything else for the manager? Okay, we can review motions, Randy.
First motion was the consent agenda, that was approved. Second motion was the approval of the regular agenda as amended, and that was approved. The third motion was to approve the proclamation of Fire Prevention Week. The fourth motion was to schedule 2 work sessions for budget, and that's 10-9 and 10-12, 1 to 3. First one's Fire Department General Fund, and the second one is on Public Works. And the clerk will post that tomorrow. Fifth motion was to schedule a work session on the employee succession plan, and that's 1 to 3 on October 24th. And again, the clerk will post that tomorrow. The sixth motion of the evening was to approve Fire Chief Dan Shanahan on the road committee. Seventh motion was to approve Mike Springer on the DDA. And that's it.
Awesome, thank you.
Lynn?
Yes, sir.
It's probably as good a time as any to throw my comment in about that list of motions that was distributed. It'd be helpful if that had an effective date on the top, because there's going to be revisions to it as we go through the year.
Another column, you mean?
No, just right on the top on the heading, an effective date, the last date it was amended.
Oh, yeah, I can do
Because we
that.
keep, and then the one, let's see, it was on the motion number 1 on September the 4th. It just it just moved to approve the project referred to in the motion. It doesn't refer to what the project is, it just says refer to the project. See, you might want to take a look at that. There should actually be something in there that says what the project was.
Well, at least it gives you the date in the packet, so you can actually review that yourself.
You should pay attention during the meeting.
Yeah, it should be listed on there, so we know.
Yeah, it's
If we
good.
have to go back and look for it, we'll know which one.
But I just saw an effective date on that. Would just let everybody know if they're looking at the right sheet or not.
Yeah, I finished that last week, and, well, I'll try to keep that up monthly. So at the end of the month, I'll review the 2 meetings, and I'll update that monthly. But I will put on there, like, you know, as of a certain date.
Yeah, That's all I was
Well, if you
suggesting.
do that equals, parentheses now, it'll pull up the date whenever you open it up. It'll pull up today's date so that when you save it, and if you're gonna print it, so every time you open it, it'll give you the date of whatever you're looking at, if you wanna do that. Okay, and we're gonna put those in the office, right? We're gonna.
Yeah,
put
I
them in a
have
book,
them,
or-
I have them right now. I emailed them to the board members, and yeah, I can put them out in a binder.
That'll be good, in case staff needs to look for something too. And just update it, then throw them away and put new ones in every month or something, or a new page. Okay. Anything for future agendas? Anything anybody's interested in or needs to talk about or research or?
Not till after we get the budget done,
Okay,
after January.
thought I'd ask. Any board member comment? Anything going on you want to share? Yes, Ernie?
I'll get in before Dave does. If everything works out right, we hopefully have all the personal property taxes taken care of by end of the month, as of right now, which is very exceptional. That we have, hopefully the books will be clear by the 1st of November, if
Oh.
everything works out right in that too, so. But we're working on all of them. We got people that are making payments and others that I have called, and some checks are coming in and that, and it looks very positive in that too, so. The biggest downside is we get this done and we start all over again next year and that, and we start rolling again and that too, so.
I got a question for you then. At one point, and I guess I haven't paid much attention to the online part, we could either pay taxes online, is that right? Or what was it
No.
that we were talking about? I haven't done it, or is it pay the utility bills
You
online?
can pay with credit card.
Paying credit cards, but you can't
In
do
the
it
office?
online.
Oh,
You have to
okay.
come in the office to do it.
I remember talking about it years ago,
Yeah.
you wanted to do that, and I didn't know if it ever, I didn't pay any attention.
It couldn't be worked out. We got in the office for, you pay credit, and there's quite a few people that use it. I was surprised in that too, so. And it does cost them a few dollars to do it, but they don't care in that. Some of them, it goes to their dividend dollars from the credit company, but I don't know who's making out on that at all, in that too.
Credit card company.
But we're not, we're getting paid, but the individual isn't making out, the credit card company's making out on that too. So. But it's, the personal property tax is something you have to work on every year and that, because we never know what's gonna happen in that. And it could be, this place is in business on January 30th, and all of a sudden, we start looking up, they're gone. We have no idea where they go or anything else. They just pack up and leave. And there's no way to get them. If they move to another community, they're out of our jurisdiction and that, and you go from there. And we lost it, or they just disappear. And we've had a few of those and that. And we have to keep them on the books for 5 years, and we have to prove that we have tried to find them and send letters and everything else and that. And after a 5-year period, we have to go to the courts, and the judge will allow us to write them off and that. And we have to do that almost every year, write a few off and that. There's no way out of it. We just can't collect it because they're gone. We have no idea where they are, and they're out of business and that.
Yes, Dave?
I've been thinking about the public comment that was made tonight about, and if I heard that right, it was, I will just have it done and send the township the bill.
It sounded
Nobody
like-
else picked up on that, is that?
Oh, yeah.
No, you can't do that.
What it-
Yeah.
Well, nobody said they can't do that.
Well, you're not supposed to talk in between, you know. That was-
That's why I
I
bring it
almost
up,
said
is that,
That's why I
Well,
wrote Mark's
and-
phone number down.
Yeah, and I was gonna bring it up as well. What do you want me to do if any particular township resident decides to do their own repair and give us a bill? You know,
Has it
this
been done in
particular.
the past?
Well, this particular site is a difficult site, and it's been talked about in prior meetings, in their presence. Where the property is located, I don't think there's anything that UPEA or anybody else is gonna be able to do to not have water in their property. They're below grade at the bottom of Saddle. When you get heavy rainfall like we had, lots of places flooded. Lots of places in the township flooded with that heavy rain.
well, I guess the reason I bring it up is because there was two comments there. One was that it had occurred in the past.
Yeah.
And therefore, she was advised that she could go ahead and do it, and I'm not sure that it has occurred in the past. But rather than allow that to go on to the point that we got a bill and then we have to turn it down, I would hope somebody would contact her and let her know that that's not an acceptable plan.
The manager should talk to her tomorrow.
I'm going to be in Grand Rapids tomorrow, so, you know.
But I would hate to see her, because nobody challenged that. And I was trying to figure out what she was talking about.
She's
But
allowed to make her comments, so
I
I didn't rebut it because I didn't know all the facts either.
I understand that. I'm just suggesting that if it goes unresolved from this point on, and I was her, I would go hire Superior to do it and just send us a bill with a full expectation that it'll be paid at this point, because it was never challenged.
Has it been done in the
No.
past?
No.
No, not that I'm aware
Okay.
of.
So she,
All right,
she got misinformation.
And then to the manager's question, I wouldn't think that'd be acceptable under any circumstances. Somebody would have the work done and send us the bill that we would ever consider paying it. I would hope.
Yeah, these are other people's monies that we're
Right.
using, and, you know, do you want to go pay it? Should you write her a check, Dave?
Well, I would just think that we need to make that pretty clear, so that otherwise I can see this whole thing getting carried away and we'll get a whole bunch of bills by the end of the year.
Well, then I was thinking too, what happens if she goes ahead and gets the work done and it doesn't resolve the problem?
Which it likely won't.
And I don't understand, that's why I was going to talk to Mark. Why is this other company able to fix it for $3,200 and he can't?
Because they're reconstructing her driveway.
Well, that's her.
They're bringing
deal.
they're bringing her driveway up to grade.
Yeah, if that's something she wants to
Yeah.
do, that's up to her.
Yeah, they're repaving her driveway 30-some feet into her driveway, is my understanding. And it should be on that proposal
look
as
at
to what they're doing. But, that's still not gonna solve the problem of water in their side yard. That'll still be there.
But people had the option of going to, I think, a third. What is the height deal, Dave?
It's just the difference between 1.5 inches and 3 inches on the
Yeah.
bit curb height. But, you gotta go back to when we did the road project, there was a policy that was set forth, and it wasn't a voted-on policy, but it was certainly discussed at the board level, and that is that the road project shouldn't make their water problems worse, and I don't believe we've done that. And I don't believe, that's why UPEA was needed to look at that, is because I don't think adding 1.5 inches to her bit curb, which is all you could really do at the road rehab level, is add 1.5 inches to that bit curb and slope it off on her driveway side in the first 2 or 3 feet. I don't think that's gonna resolve her problem.
It has to start farther back. You know,
But
with the big-
I just wanted to touch on that, because I'm sure she walked out of here with the impression that she could just have it done if nobody calls her and send us the bill.
Okay, thanks for mentioning that.
It
Any,
has to be told, and Randy's out of town tomorrow.
yeah,
She has to be told not to pursue that avenue.
Could be a response from the clerk.
Pardon me?
Could be just a response from the clerk, an
Yeah.
email or whatever, or a message.
what,
Um,
I
Yeah.
don't know the logistics.
Well, and I guess the reason I bring it up is because regardless of what UPEA is saying, she needs to be advised sooner rather than later that she can't just have it done and turn in a bill.
Well, and I need to make sure that we didn't make it worse, and he would have that information, he's already got
I
it.
don't mean to argue the point, but it doesn't matter if we made it worse or not. She can't just have the work done and turn in a bill, and she
That's
needs to
true.
be aware of
But
that.
whether we're
We'll
responsible
have a
for it
few
or
more
not.
that will follow
That's the
quickly.
other issue then.
Yeah,
Two
many,
different issues.
many, yes. Okay, any other board member comment, Ernie?
Who's gonna contact her ASAP?
I'll
That's
talk
the
to
question.
Randy while he's driving tomorrow after I talk to Mark, and I can call her, that's fine. I want to have the facts, that's what I'm looking for first. And if I need to call Roger, I have his phone number too.
You might even ask where she got that information from.
I don't know that that matters. Apparently
I
it's,
think it matters a hell of a
Apparently it's
lot
not
if
true.
it came
If
from
we'd done
someone
it, she
that
got
he might have been asking us if that were true.
And I guess this is the part where I start arguing with you, because it doesn't matter what UPEA says. and it doesn't matter what the attorney says. She simply has to be advised that she cannot have the work done and turn in a bill to the township. Doesn't matter what else happens, she can't have the work done and turn in a bill to the township.
Well, she can do the work, but the problem is.
She can do whatever she wants, she just can't anticipate turning it into the township.
Yeah, and us paying it.
I'd like to see what the bid is then, because
Yep, I can
talked to
share
her
that.
before, and Dave and myself talked about the road and stuff like that, and so I was kind of curious what they're saying they can do, because it might not serve.
No, I believe they're bringing her driveway grade up to be equal to the road. And, you know, and all that that's gonna do is funnel the water off the side of the driveway into the side yard. I mean, if you look at the video which she provided to the board and the pictures that were provided to the board, the water is running off of the road, up her driveway to the side yard. And that's not going to stop when you have that it was going over the curb, over the bit curb. 5 inches of rain over a 3-inch bit curb doesn't work. It's going to flood. She's at the bottom of a saddle. There's nowhere else for the water to go.
Okay, anything else? One more
Move to
motion.
adjourn.
You gotta- Okay, now you can do it.
Support?
Support.
Anywhere? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 7:31. Thank you.
You're getting